Alright, as I promised you last week that I was going to put up some video, apologies, it took me a bit of time to get to it. As you can see, I'm going to go back a little bit here to go to the directory where your Wireshark is installed. You go to Program Files, and then from my Program Files I go to Wireshark directory, and once I get over there, you'll find a whole lot of other files there, and you can probably find them just like this. You can see all the utilities that we have under Wireshark, and you can kind of like sometimes to modify my windows a little bit, just give me a little bit of more real estate. I like to kind of make my text, my screen text, make it yellow. My layout, I could probably use a little bit of more of a layout over here. If I don't want to wrap it, I can, check it and probably make this to be 120. Okay, there you go. Alright, so the utility we're going to be using here is T-Shark, and I'm going to be using T-Shark. One other thing I forgot to add is to make it, if I see it now, I will show you quick edit mode. So that will allow me to highlight something here and I want to show you. Alright, the utility we're going to be focusing on over here is T-Shark, and the reason I want to show you T-Shark, as we discussed in the class before, is because it allows us to use Wireshark mostly in a command line mode. Somebody asked in the class, why do we have to use T-Shark? Why can't you just stick to Wireshark? Well, there's a lot of reasons why we could use T-Shark. Number one, if Wireshark cannot keep up with the size and the amount of traffic that we are experiencing, Wireshark can be overwhelmed very quickly. T-Shark will be one of the alternative means to go. Number two, if I want to capture packets remotely, well, Wireshark is not going to work for that. I'm going to have to go for T-Shark. In that case, well, you will have to use T-Shark. Another option that you want to remember why I want to use T-Shark is because if my system doesn't have a lot of resources, then I will probably want to go for T-Shark. For those three reasons, it is very important for you to know that T-Shark is very, very important. I've already shown you guys how to use, T-Shark. One thing that I haven't really shown you much is how to put, T-Shark in your pad. These may be a bit necessary if you want to be able to run T-Shark from any environment. For example, if I come over here and I type T-Shark here, I could type here and you can see it recognizes it. It's running, more or less. I can cancel here. There are several options that I also have. I can type -D to show me how many interfaces I have on my system, and you can see here that on my particular system here, I've got several interfaces of this guy. I'm not able to select. 1 second here. I want to make sure that my quick edit mode is selected here. Alright, you can see that I have several network cards. It's important to make sure that you are listening on the interface that has network connectivity. Otherwise, you would be listening and you will not, capture any packet. Or if I just run T-Shark the way I ran it earlier here, then it would default to the first, network card. In which case, you may never capture anything because there's really no traffic on that particular, path. So one of the things that I generally like to do for people is, if I run T-Shark, however, from this directory, and I say T-Shark, Windows might not find it, if it's not already in my path. Mine in this case recognize it automatically. That is because Wireshark is already in my Windows path. And I will give you an example of that. So if I type path here, you would see that Wireshark somewhere here has been added to my path. And because Wireshark has been added to my path here, Windows knows to go and get it. If it's not added, then I will try and look for it here. I've actually not looked at it ahead of time, but I can tell you with authority that Wireshark is already in my Windows part. And there you can see C colon, 27, and then C over C program file Wireshark. So that's why, I was able to run it. And Windows kind of knew where to go and get this because it's already been, it's already in the Windows part. If it's not there, then it wouldn't know what to do with it. So make sure you verify that at least at the minimum that you have Wireshark. Otherwise, you will not be able to run Wireshark from any directory. Alright, so we got that out of the way. The thing I wanted to also know that Wireshark has a lot of, key or command line parameters. How do I do that? I can go over here and say T-Shark, and I type -H, and I can see a whole lot of options here. There are some of them that we're going to use quite a bit. Interface especially, I keep losing my ability to edit here. I don't know why this thing kept defaulting back to the original stuff, but alright, I'm actually trying to see if I can do this and run this one as an administrator. Alright, so this looks to be going just fine. So I'm just going to say T-Shark here -H, and when I type that, I have a lot of options here. You could see this is going to be very, very useful for us as we go on later on. This is also going to be useful at some point. Buffer size, also this will be very, very useful. That allows you to specify, the size of each of the file of your capture. -H, I already shown you how to use -H up here for help. Another option that we're going to also use is ring buffer. This allows you to generate multiple files of a single capture, so you don't exceed, the size for a single file. The other option that we're going to use is -D, and I kind of already showed you dash earlier on. The -Ds allow me to specify how many interfaces I have on the system, network interface card I have on the system. Another option that we're also going to use later is -Y, and you really do not want to forget what Y does for us. I'll put it up here if I can find it really quick. And I'm talking of capital Y, not the small y here. It's capital Y somewhere here. Here is it. That's a display filter. Okay, I will run some tests for you here, and we're going to use it in both Wireshark to see what options that we have over here. Alright, so I've used -H, I've used -D. We're going to use -I later on. I show you guys this because I have a folder here. I call the folder 1085, and inside this folder I've got a bunch of files that I've already copied in there. And we're going to do what I believe we've already done in the class that I've kind of shown you guys in the previous session on how to do this. One quick reminder in case you have not been in class before this video is kind of created. One of the things I showed you guys in class, actually I can just pull this up. I showed you guys in class that if you want to search, especially for file, the easiest thing to do is to go to Google and look for the site called file signature, because when you're looking for a file, one of the things you're going to be looking at there is file signature, for example. And I have some files here that I call that has the JPG and so on and so forth, and you could look at some of these folder here that I call them, they are folders that have all kinds of files in it. And I'm actually going to do some demonstration here, because in the exam you would not know what file has what or not. You just simply won't have a clue. So I'm going to try and do some demonstration here for you. See, this file, I just renamed it, pinch, and I named it as 2. You know, zip file, for example. I'm going to extract it. And if I go to extract into this folder, now I have a file here, and I'm going to call it, rename it as 3, and I will copy it out. And drop it here, and delete this file out here. I'm going to delete this one out here as well. You can always change them if I want to change them. You know, maybe PDF, but you know, I'll do just a few of these to kind of like demonstrate what I was trying to drive home. So if I come over here and I said, okay, I'm looking for JPG, if I were to give you a question and I said look for a file with JPEG, you can see right now, right away quickly, you know, the file signature is FFD8. You can start with the first 2 and then expand if you think you have too many noise. So what will I do here? It's relatively simple for this option here. Just gonna come over here. Actually, I'm gonna go into the folder where I have this file kept. And I will come over here and run T-Shack. I want to make sure my T-Shack is working. It looks like it's working just fine. So I'm going to close it out. CLS. I'm going to run T-Shack here. And one of the things that I want to do here is to use T-Shack to look for a given file. In this case, might be, you know, let's say I'm looking for Y means, you know, display filter. And I'm going to just say I'm looking for inside the HTTP traffic, and I'm going to say matches. And generally when you have matches, it's mostly you're using a regular expression to match. Sometimes you can also use contains as well. Sometimes you want to be a bit careful how, you know, you run this. If you use matches here, what you're going to have is, if it's not 100% a match, it's not going to work. So if you think you're just looking for anything that may contains the signature that you're looking for, then you want to change this one to contains. Okay, then I will come over here. I already know my JPEG has a FFD8 here, as I'm showing you on the screen, and I'm just going to say FF, and I'm going to type D8, and I'm going to quote, right? The first quote is for this number, the other one is for this particular one. Now you have to provide the file that this guy is going to read from. So I'm just going to say one of my file here, and I'm going to look for it, and just like that. It tells me right away that, you know, in this file there are 3 files there that has JPEG in it. I can try it out on the second one as well. And I press enter here, it doesn't find anything in there. I can press this one as well, it doesn't find anything in there. Well, it actually found some. It did find 3 pictures inside the JPEG. You see that? And that's one thing about the T-Shack. That means T-Shack is even able to look inside the compressed file. You can see that the file is a zip file which is compressed, and you know, the JPEG is really not. So we to kind of find it in there. I think I have a. I'm gonna make sure I have a. Okay, it's just a CC here. And look inside this file, I don't find anything there. What else can I also look for? You know, we talk about PNG. I can come over here and look at my PNG right here. Here's my PNG. And I can say PNG. Close this one off. And now you can see my PNG. Now with my PNG here, I have 89, 50, 40, 4E. So what can I do here? I can just come back here, and instead of FFD8 here, I'll simply come over here and enter this signature. But fine over here, you can start with the first two. If you have a lot of noise, you can go back and increase the by. I'm just going to go for the first four: 89, colon, 50, colon, 4E, colon, 47. And I can write this one and see I don't have anything here. Go for the first one here. Nothing. Go for the second one. And now I have one file that has a PNG file. That's another really great tools that you want to be a bit familiar with. What about the zip file? Similar, the same thing. You just need to know what is the zip file that you're looking for. So I come over here again and I go for zip. And make sure you're looking for your standard zip, not gzip, not 7-zip. So you're 25 here, so you're going to just keep looking until you get the actual zip file that we're looking at. Bzip again. Here is one here. And that's looks like what we're looking for here. So here I'll come down here and I'll change the signature here. Again, you can see that we're just playing with signature. 50 colon 49 colon 50 colon 4B colon 03 colon 04. And I'll search in 2, can't find anything in 2. And I'll go for 3. And I have 3 zip files inside this location. Can I look for the same thing in Windows, in Wireshark? Absolutely. But then it gets a little bit tricky. For example, if I'm looking for this file in Wireshark, instead of the traditional signature file that I was typing, I'm going to have to use something a bit different. And I'm going to have to say, look for, frame contains, and then specify what kind of HTTP data that I want to find. 1 second here. As you can see here, all I had to do was type HTTP contains, and then I put it in a quote here. So the first line you see over here was backslash. Backslash is a special character to escape, this small x. Otherwise, Wireshark is going to look for x literally, but the x here is to indicate that FF is an hexadecimal number. So we use special character backslash to escape this x so that Wireshark doesn't think it is a literal x. We do the same thing over here, so it's the same thing, very similar to what we did at the very top here when we're comparing FFD8. Search for it over here. Wireshark does it a little bit differently. I think T-Shark is a lot simpler and a lot easier to understand. I can open other files as well. 1 second here. There are other files that you could also open up to see what it is that you got here. Another example is number 2. Can close this out. Close this out. Here's number 2. I can say HTTP contains. So I was just kind of looking for, maybe a zip file or something. Then I would come over here and enter the zip file signature, and we kind of know that from the exercises that we do, or activity that we did over here. We know what it is here, so that's very easy. I'll just type x, backslash x 50 backslash x 4B \x 03 \x 04, and then you quote it, and then you search for it. Now, if this signature is correct, then you should find it. If it's not correct, you will not find it. So since it's not here, I'm going to go and look for 3P cap, and here's 3P cap. There's 3P cap. I can just paste the filter, and now you can see HTTP contains this file signature that I got from Gary Kessler website to let me know what is it that I have. Alright, everything we've been doing so far has been relatively easy, in the sense that we've been mostly dealing with a particular file, and we'll look at the file header, and then we'll go for it. Well, what if there are no file header? For example, you're looking for credit card in the middle of a given trace file. How do you look for how do you look for credit card? Which means you have to build your own file signature for a particular pattern that you're looking for. Example of that is one of the files that we have. I'm going to bring this up. I have an email file. I use credit card here that has credit card information in it. Depending on the kind of information you're looking for, you might have to build a regular expression. If you do not, it simply won't work. I have one more or less crafted here, and I'm going to show you here, and I want to kind of show you why I think this is important. Now, these will get me a MasterCard. A MasterCard generally, start with 5, and is unique only to MasterCard. It is not only important that you understand that, it is also very important that you know how to build one from the scratch. For example, what I have here is saying I'm looking for a number that starts with 5. And I'm also saying that number must be followed by 3 digits. D stands for digit. And I'm escaping the D here because I'm saying D is a special character. So I escape it so that Wireshark or T-Shark doesn't start looking for D. I'm saying don't look for D. D means something special, and it means digital. Or digit. So we say I'm looking for number 5 followed by D standing for digits, followed by 3 digits, and you realize that here we escaped the escape. That was because we're trying to let T-Shark understand, because T-Shark generally in its approach when you're running it like this require you to escape the escape itself, so it doesn't take it for a literal backsplash. So you can see that. So I'm saying I'm looking for a number that starts with 5 followed by 3 digits. Alright, then I open a bracket, and the bracket that I open over here means that after that you could have hyphen, you could have a blank space. That's really what this does. This is essentially saying either it's hyphen or it is a blank space. And I use backslash to escape the S, which stands for small case, for a space. And then I use another escape to escape the escape itself. Kind of twisted, but that's really why it goes. Then I use question mark here, and I'll probably explain to you guys later on what the question mark, does. Essentially, in this particular case, it means it can be in the same order. So by putting the asking question over here, I'm essentially saying match either one of these two. Either it's hyphen or it is blank. So that's one of the things that I'm capturing over here. You may see in some cases where folks are actually match other condition as well. It's not just these or these, because sometimes there's no space in between them at all. So that's the next one over here. Is we go at it again. Again, we said we're looking for followed by 4 digits, but because we're using it in T-Shark, we're escaping the escape of our escape character as well. So followed by a space or an hyphen. Again, question mark says either of these two match, then followed by another 4 digits, then space or hyphen, and say any of these two will match, and then followed by 4 digits. If I run this against this particular file, you would see it's saying, well, I found a match here. I found a match. Potentially this thing may have a credit card data and a MasterCard, because only MasterCard start with 5. So you can look at it now. So one of the things I did over here was to now try to run this file against my same email packet, email trace file. But something has changed here. If you will notice, you realize that this is 5 before, because MasterCard generally start with 5, but Visa card always start with 4. Otherwise, the signature is still the same thing. Looking for a strings that start with 4, followed by the next 3 digits, separated by hyphen or space, and then followed by 4 digits again, separated by space or hyphen, match on the either of the two, followed by another 4 digits, separated by space or hyphen, and finally followed by 4 digits. And with that, I can definitely, and you can see the way I had to escape, quote it. So all these in a single quote here, if you will kind of like take a look at it, you always want to start in the middle if you want to kind of capture, the way this works. And then I had another quote here that quote the code. And finally, I have these 3 here that actually capture that. So let's go ahead and run it. And you can also see I also have a Visa card here. The last one that I'm going to do for you is going to be the one that has a American Express card. And for the American Express card, you would quickly begin to realize that it's not as hard as you would have imagined, because now that I know the behavior of the traffic that I'm looking for, essentially I'm simply just going to look for the pattern of an American Express, and there's something that is unique about the American Express, and that is the fact that it generally starts with 3, and it doesn't always follow the same pattern that this other one follows. So take a look at what I got here now. Same thing, but now I'm saying the first digits has to be 3, and then followed by the next 3 digits, space and hyphen, match on either of the two, followed by 6 digits, followed by hyphen or space, and followed by 5 digits, which is again the format character for Discover card. And if I look inside this place, you could see I don't have any match. One of the things you have to always look at is, am I looking at the right file? Did I make any mistake? Have I done anything wrong or something like that? I'm going to give you this particular file for you to play with, especially in your final. So I hope that you take some time to analyze these, because you're going to find it very relevant, as you attempt some of the questions that you'll be given in your exam. Before we get out of T-Shark, one of the things I've done so far is to use T-Shark as a display filter to analyze and leveraging regular expression to look for a needle in a haystack. Here is another option that I want to show you. So far, the Y here is a display filter. It's showing me what I want to see out of the large pool of trace file that I have. What if I only want to capture certain traffic? Well, that's very, very easy. I'll come over here and I'll do this for you. If I did not specify anything, I can actually just use this guy by saying, -W. And mind you, one of the things I'm trying to do here may sounds a bit interesting, but also I wanted to actually think about it because it's got some value that I want you guys to to see. I can just say fun, okay, fun pickup. Here is the name. That -W stands for right, and I can go ahead and say -S here. And if you've forgotten what -S does, just type -S here. You would see exactly what S does for you. I'm going to browse up to see if I can catch Fs, the line separator to print between packets, that's what it does. So this is going to show, the packet as they're being captured. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm just going to say T-Shark, and I'm going to say write, call it fun.pickup, and I'm going to say -S. Now, if you remember that I told you earlier, you need to capture on the right interface. So if you want to look at my interface here, I can say -D, and you will see that my wireless interface is number 6. So for me, I will say -I, which stands for interface, alright, and I'm going to say number 6, and I'm going to say -W, and I'm going to say fun.pickup, and I'm going to say -S, which means I want it to print what is going on. If I do this, you would see that T-Shark is going to start capturing, and it's just going to print everything on the screen. If I want to actually save it, then I'm going to have to come over here and tell T-Shark where to write the file. In this case, I can say just fun.pickup. And if I were to do that, well, it's going to go ahead and save the output of this file inside this file called fun.pickup. And of course, it's going to provide some numbers as it's doing that. If there's any network activity, you can see the numbers spiking up a bit. So if I go to google.com, or if I do any activity on the site that he hasn't, let me go to FBA and see if I get any activity on this number count. And sometimes when you have a number freeze, you've got to make sure that, am I listening on the right network? Is there any problem, or is there anything going on that I need to know, and so on and so forth. I'll give you a typical example here. I'll cancel this. You can see now that the number is actually going. You see that here? So it's just that my resolution on my screen is what is getting stuck. So sometimes it looks like the number is static, but the number is really not static. You can see that number is, keeps going up. I'm going to stop the capture here. There are other stuff you can see in just few seconds. I've captured over 16,000 packets. That's a lot. What if I want to limit the file that I capture? I can potentially do that as well. I can come over here and then tell this guy and say, you know what? I would like you to limit what you capture. Okay, how do you want me to do it? I can actually come back and say -F, alright, and I can specify what port TCP is going to listen on. In which case I could come over here and say quote TCP, and I hope I'm doing this correctly, but we'll find out in a second here. Port 80, right? And if I were to do that, hopefully what I anticipate is I'm only going to be capturing packet on port 80, and you can see the rate at which the number is flying now has been reduced a lot. What I've done now essentially is to tell T-Shark and say, do not collect every traffic. I only wanted to collect web traffic, right? What if I have done something like this? If I had said port 21. Well, I'm telling T-Shark and say only collect activity on port 21. And even if I browse the web here and go to www.century.edu, you could see that you're not seeing any collection here. Wait a minute here. Right here. See, I'm browsing the web, but it's not capturing anything because I'm only saying capture on port 21, and there's nothing on port 21, so it's not going to capture anything. You see, this is how powerful the filter can be, and sometimes you really want to limit the amount of traffic that a particular capture is really targeting. One other thing I can also do here, the thing I wanted to look at is, what if I want to collect, packet on port 80, but I don't want to collect it indefinitely? I can actually do something like this. C stands for count, and I can say I only want to collect 100 packets, and generally once that is done, it would stop. Now sometimes I can go ahead and start doing something now and watch it go. I can go to say tnt.com, and it will continue to collect packet. You can see it's beginning to collect packet now, and once it gets to 100, it will just stop. See, just like that, it just stops and terminate. This is one way to actually limit the amount of packet that you want to collect, so that you don't continue to collect packet indefinitely. One other stuff that I could also do is to use a ring buffer, and I'll quickly show you how that works here. So I can actually come over here. I'm gonna do this and say T-Shark, and I'm going to use -B to specify the file size of what I want to use on the Big Shark. So I'm saying the file size should be 1000 bytes, and I use -B also to specify the files. So here I have something like this, and I can specify the number of files, 2 files. And I'm going to say write the file, and I can usually say century class.pcap. And if I do this, it's going to capture to a ring buffer with 2 files. Okay, each of them is going to be 1 megabyte each, or 1000 kilobytes, because it's in kilobyte. So it's going to capture 2 files of 1000 kilobyte each and write packet to a trace file, and each of them is going to begin with centuries class.pcap. Alright, so if you look at this command, what I achieve by this command is I'm going to be running T-Shark, and I'm saying create the file size to be 1000 kilobyte, and I'm saying 2 files, and then I'm naming the file. So the first file is going to start with Century iPhone class pcarp, and then once that one reaches the 1000 kilobyte, it's going to start creating another file. So that's another option that you could run with Wireshark. Another option here that I think I would like to kind of show you, I've shown you guys how I will use my T-Shark here, and I'll specify that I want to use my iPhone i6 because that is the interface card, that's my wireless interface. I told you guys, if you're listening on an interface that is not active, you're not going to get any data. So that's good. So I'm going to use this one to listen on this interface. But the next thing that I would like also to do is to specify the duration. I can say -A, which will give me the option to say duration, and I can say I only want to do it for 20 seconds. So, and then I can say, you know, short, you know, trace.pcarp. Of course, if I want it to be longer, I can actually do that, and this capture is going to continue, but then at the end of the 20 seconds, it would definitely, you know, stop. And once that does, it would essentially just, you know, save it with this trace file name, and it would terminate. And that's one way to use time, to specify how long you want your capture to last. I've already shown you how to use the number of packets collected earlier on to show you what you will need to do if your goal really is to use or determine the number of packets to analyze a given file. Right? Okay, I'm trying to see if I can wait for 20 seconds. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go on to the next function that I want us to really capture. But again, try it on your own. This will allow you to specify how long you want, you know, T-Shark to run, after which it's actually going to stop, you know, collecting packet. All right, going to terminate that. Then the next thing I want to show you, we're really rounding up. This is some of the stuff that you could do to have some fun. If I go back to T-Shark here, I can actually read, you know, one of the packets we just collected over here. And you could actually use a couple of commands to specify that you want to watch a conversation -z -q. And if I were to type -v, is going to show me a TCP conversation that I have inside this packet, and you can see that really quick. Again, the key is I'm using T-Shark to read this trace file that we just collected, and I'm saying I want to see TCP conversation. Alright, so you might be wondering what is -q and what is -z. Anytime you run into that issue, just type -h here and look for Q and view, and you can see right there, be more quiet on standard output. And then we also specify -z, and you can see various sizes, 6 many man pages. And for us, when we type you know, -q, we're just kind of suppressing you know, standard output, so it's giving us a lot of statistics. So we want to kind of we're saying to be more quiet on the standard output, so we don't get all the relevant data that we don't need. But -z allows me to then specify other statistics like conversation, TCP, and so on and so forth. And there's really no limit to what you can do, especially when it comes to stuff like that. One of that stuff, and this is the last one I'm going to show you, and then you can go have some fun on your own with this packet. I don't know if I have any HTTP traffic. I think I have some here. So I can give you HTTP traffic here, and sometimes you can do this and let Wireshark just read through it, T-Shark rather, read through it. But other stuff you can also do is you can actually be a bit more creative. I can say I'm looking for HTTP request, you know, and it will process it for me. Remember, HTTP request is one of the HTTP header or field that you can search for, and I'm going to say -t here to specify the fields that I'm looking for, and I can say I want to see the host website that this individual is browsing. So HTTP host, I can do the same thing again, -E, to look for HTTP request URI, that is the web page is trying to visit on the website. HTTP.host reference the website. HTTP request.URI is referencing the resource on the website that you are actually visiting. So URI over here, and I can say I want to see just the first 100, so it doesn't give me unlimited pages. Now, 1 second here. Let me look at missing in my command earlier on, because when I did it, give me these error messages, and I think I found what the issues is. I need to put -Y here, I believe, and if I do that, boom, there you go. And -Y is to let T-Shark knows that this is going to be a display filter. And you could see I requested for a certain field, and he essentially gave me those certain field. He gave me the host, and he gave me the URI. This is the URI, the one that's much longer here. You can see that this is what URI, and this is the host here. So I hope you like this video. Go through it, practice with it, and should get you ready for your final. Thank you.